Dear students, welcome to the class. In the previous class, we have seen the valence bond theory and the applications of valence bond theory in case of square planar complexes and also tetrahedral complexes. In today's class, we will discuss valence bond theory application in case of octahedral complexes. Let us take few examples and discuss valence bond theory. The first example is hexacyanoferrate 3 ion. We have already discussed the nomenclature. Let us see again how to write this name. This is the formula, complex formula. Hexacyano, there are 6 cyano groups. So hexacyano, 6 cyano ligands. Then iron. Iron is there. Since the charge on this complex is negative charge, that is minus charge, we have to use 8 at the end of the metal ion name, that is ferrate. And the charge is plus 3. This is minus 3 and 6 cyano gives minus 6 charge. 6 minus 3 will become plus 3. Plus 3. Since this is an ion, there is no uh, further ion to satisfy this ion minus 3 charge. Therefore, ion should be kept here. This is about the name of this complex. Now let us see the valence bond theory. According to valence bond theory, uh, it should provide vacant orbitals which central metal atom, that is iron, should provide vacant orbitals equal to the coordination number. If you see this complex, the coordination number is equal to the number of ligands, that is 6. Coordination number is 6. So iron should provide 6 vacant orbitals to form coordinate covalent bond with with these ligands. Now first let us see the outer electronic configuration of iron. What is the outer electronic configuration of iron? What is the atomic number? It is 26. With 26 atomic number, the outer electronic configuration of iron is 3d6 4s2. 3d6 4s2. Now what is the charge of on iron here in this complex? It is plus 3. Plus 3 means it should lose 3 electrons from here, from this. If when 3 electrons are eliminated from this configuration, what is the resultant configuration on iron plus 3 ion? We will get 2 electrons from 4s orbital and 1 electron from 3d. So the electronic configuration, that is outer electronic configuration of iron 3 now becomes 3d5. Okay, 3d5. Now let us write the configuration. So here circles are shown to write the to indicate the electronic configuration here. The iron plus the electronic configuration is 3d5 4s0, and the next orbital is 4p orbital. This is not d, this is p here. There is a correction here. I'll correct it now. 4s, this is 4p. 4p. So in 3d orbital, how many electrons are there? 5 electrons. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 is vacant because the charge is plus 3. Therefore, electrons are removed from here. 1, 2 electrons from here, and 1 electron from here. This one, and next orbitals are 4p orbitals. So, how many? What is excited? What is the coordination number here? 6 coordination number means it should provide 6 empty orbitals. So how many empty orbitals do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many do we need? We need 2 more empty orbitals. And if you observe this, cyano ligand is strong field ligand. Strong field ligand means it due to the presence of this cyano ligands, the electrons in the iron plus 3 gets rearranged. So they get paired up. So these 2 electrons, they get paired up among the other 3d electrons here. So we get, after pairing up or after rearrangement, we get 2 more empty orbitals here. So 2 empty d orbitals and 1 4s orbital, and the next 4p orbital, 3 4p orbital, they will hybridize to form D2sp3. So after D2sp3 hybridization, we will get how many vacant orbitals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 D2sp3 hybridized vacant orbitals we are getting. So what is the coordination number? 6. So 6 are enough. So into these 6 vacant D2sp3 hybridized orbitals, this cyano, the ligands, that is cyanide groups, they donate a pair of electron and form a coordinate covalent bond. So the dotted square bracket indicates the circles in these brackets uh, indicates the coordinate covalent bond with the central metal ion iron. So this is due to sp3 hybridization. So what is the hybrid? If we summarize this one, what is the hybridization due to sp3? Since inner 3d orbital is involved in the hybridization, it is inner orbital complex. So do we have any unpaired electron here? Only one unpaired electron is there, only one. But there is one paired electron, therefore this is paramagnetic. And but since the magnetic momentum is very low because of only one unpaired electron, this is a low spin ligand. Sorry, low spin complex. And what is the geometry with D2sp3 with coordination number 6? Obviously, it is octahedral geometry. Let us see the geometry now. Okay. Okay, I'll draw the geometry here. So geometry will be like this. Those 4 cyano groups will occupy the equatorial positions of the square planar. Since this is octahedral one, there will be 2 more ligands. Central position will be occupied by central metal ion, in this case that is iron, and the 4 corners of the square with 4 ligands, that is cyano, and the 2 more positions we have, that position is known as axial position. These are also occupied with cyano group. So this is the octahedral geometry. Okay. So this is the octahedral geometry. These 4 cyano groups which are in one plane are known as, which are in square plane are known as equatorial ligands, equatorial cyanides, and which are in the above and below the plane are known as equatorial, are known as axial ligands. These 2 are in axial positions, remaining 4 are in one plane and they are known as equatorial positions or equatorial ligands. This is the octahedral geometry for this complex. Now let us study the geometry of another complex. Okay. Now let us take one more example. Hexafluoroferrate 2 ion. The formula for hexafluoroferrate 2 ion is Fe6 4 minus. Hexafluoro 4 fluoro ligands are there. Central metal atom is iron, and the charge is this is -4. Each the charge on each fluoride is -1. 6 fluorides are there, so -6. 6 minus 4 is +2. Therefore, charge is +2. Since this is an ion, we have to indicate ion. So we have already discussed the electronic configuration. What is the atomic number? 26, and the outer electronic configuration is 3d6 4s2. 3d6 4s2. So what is the oxidation state? 2 plus 2 is oxidation state. So we have to remove 2 electrons from the outermost shells, that is 4s. If you remove 2 electrons from 4s, that is enough. It will get that oxidation state of +2. So what will be the electronic configuration now after removing 2 electrons? That would be 3d6. Let us see here. See, in this 0, in the absence of ligands, that is a 0 ground state. This is the outer electronic configuration, that is 3d6 1 2 3 4 5 6. 3d6 4s2. 2 electrons are indicated here. So next orbitals are 4p. They are obviously they will be empty. 4p and 4d. 4d. Okay. Now, if you see this fluoride ion, in the last class I have already told you that cyano ions, cyanide ions, and ammonia are strong, and carbonyl. These 3 are strong fill ligands. In the presence of these ligands, electrons rearrangement will take place in within the orbitals of central metal atom. But if other than these ligands, if other ligands are there, there will be no rearrangement. Since fluoride is a weak fill ligand, the electron rearrangement will not be occurring here. So the electron will not get paired up. So what is the empty? What is the oxidation state? That is +2. So we have to remove 2 electrons from 4s2. This is the oxidation outer electronic configuration of iron +2 ion. So we have to remove 2 electrons from the 4s shell. So 4s is now empty. So how many empty orbitals do we need? We have to see the coordination number here. What is the coordination number? 6. There are 6 ligands. What are the ligands? Fluoride. 6 ligands are there. So we need 6 empty orbitals. So 1 from 4s, 3 from next orbitals, that is 4p orbitals, 3. And how many do we need more? Do we need 2 more? So that we have to take from the next next shell, that is 4d. Next shell will be 4d. So two more empty orbitals are from 4d. So hybridization should be sp. How many how many empty orbitals we need? 6. So hybridization should be sp3 and d2. One is 3 4p and 4 and 2 4d. So sp3 d2. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 vacant orbitals we have now. So these orbitals will undergo hybridization to give 6 hybridized empty sp3d2 orbitals that are indicated here in this dotted square bracket here. These are the orbitals from the hybridization. Into these vacant hybridized orbitals, the fluoride ion will donate a pair of electrons and form a coordinate covalent bond. See here, the dotted arrows are the electrons donated by F- ligands. So if you summarize the geometry of this, if you summarize the valence bond theory of this, so what is the hybridization is sp3d2. Now which orbitals are involved in the hybridization? 4d orbitals, not 3d. If 3d orbitals would have involved in the hybridization, then it would be d2sp3, but these are not involved. Which orbitals are involved? 4d orbitals are involved in the hybridization. So hybridization is sp3d2. Since 4d orbitals are involved here, it is outer orbital complex. So are there any unpaired electrons here? See here, 1 2 3 4. There are 4 unpaired electrons, therefore this is paramagnetic. Since there are 4 unpaired electrons here, this is having very high magnetic momentum, therefore this is high spin complex. And what is the geometry? Since this is sp3d2, geometry will be octahedral. See here, this is the geometry, octahedral. The 4 corners of the square are occupied by each corner is occupied by a ligand, and the other 2 ligands will occupy these axial positions. These are equatorial positions. These are equatorial. These are axial positions. Okay. Let us see one more example. Now let us see cobalt complex hexaamine cobalt 3 ion. This is hexaamine cobalt. So let us write the formula from this name. Okay. What is the central metal atom? What is the central metal atom? Cobalt. So first write the square brackets, and then write the central metal atom, that is cobalt. And next, the ligands we have to do. In case of more than one ligand, we have to follow the VBT rules. That is, first negative ligand has to be written first, followed by other ligands. Here, since there are no negative ligands, only one ligand is here, that is amine. Amine means what? NH3, ammonia. How many ammonias are there? Hexa means 6. We have to indicate. What is the oxidation state here? 3. Write 3 plus. This is N, therefore 3 plus N. Now let us see the electronic configuration first before going to the geometry. First, let us see the normal ground state electronic configuration of cobalt. What is the cobalt atomic number? It is 27. Since it is 27, okay, let me correct this one. This is 7. Okay. So since atomic number is 27, the ordered electronic configuration is 3d7 4s2. And now what is the oxidation state here on cobalt? +3. So we have to remove 3 electrons from this configuration. So first we have to remove 2 electrons from this 2. How many more electrons we have to remove? We have to remove one more electron to get this oxidation state, that we have to remove from 3d orbital. So 2 plus 1 is removed. So how many electrons will be remain on 3d orbital now? 6 electrons. Therefore this is the oxidation, this is the outer electronic configuration of cobalt 3. Now let us see here the representation. This is the ground state cobalt outer electronic configuration in the absence of ligand, that is 3d7 4s2. This is 4. Okay, 3d7 4s2. Now what is the oxidation state? +3. Therefore remove 3 electrons, 2 from here and 1 more electron from here. Okay, 1 more electron from here. Okay, so what are the electrons now? What are the remaining electrons? Only 6 are remain now. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now 4s is empty. Now if we see this, what is the ligand here? Ammonia. I have already told you that ammonia is a strong field ligand. In the presence of such type of ligands, rearrangement of d electrons will be occurring here. So these electrons will get paired up or rearranged here in among these 3d orbitals. This will jump into this here. This is get paired up, and this will jump here. So all the electrons get paired up here. Okay. Now we get 2 empty orbitals from 3d. How many empty orbitals we need? What is the coordination number? 6. So we need 6 empty orbitals. 2 orbitals are from 3d. Next 4s is giving 1. Next 3 we have to take from 4p. So D2sp3. So D2sp3 is the hybridization that is shown here in the dotted square box. These are the hybrid orbitals. Into these hybrid orbitals, vacant hybrid orbitals, the ligand, that is ammonia, will donate a pair of electrons and form a coordinate covalent bond. So since D2sp3 is the geometry, the hybridization, the geometry will be octahedral. See here, 4 corners and 4 equatorial, and the other 2 are 4 equatorial positions are occupied with ammonia, and also axial positions are also occupied with ammonia. So hybridization is D2sp3. Since 3d orbitals are involved in the hybridization, this is inner orbital complex. All electrons are paired up here. There is no unpaired electron here. Therefore, this is diamagnetic, and geometry is octahedral geometry. Okay, this is about this complex. Now let us see a few more examples. Let us take one more example. There is a hexafluorido, or you can also call it as fluoro cobalt 3. Cobalt 3 ion. This is hexafluoro cobalt 3 ion. If you see, the charge on the complex is -3, and since F6 fluoros are there, -6, 6 minus 3 plus 3. Plus 3 will be the oxidation state of this cobalt. Since it is minus charge on this coordination sphere, this is cobaltate. Cobaltate 8 we are using here. Now, sorry, here also the outer electronic configuration of this cobalt is 3d7 4s2 with atomic number 27. Since the oxidation is +3, so remove 3 electrons from here, you will get 3d6. This is 6, not 5. Okay, 3d6. So since now fluoride is a weak field ligand, therefore there will be no rearrangement of electrons in the 3d orbital. Now let us see this. This is electronic configuration in the ground state, that is 3d7 4s2. Next orbitals are 4p and 4d. Okay, the electronic configuration in +3 oxidation state is this 3d6 4s0. Next 4p0. Next 4d. Now what is the coordination number? 6. Therefore we need 6 empty orbitals here. So one orbital is from 4s, 3 from 4p, and remaining 2 we have to take from the next shell, that is 4d. So 2 electrons from here. So hybridization will be sp3d2. Now outer 4d orbitals are involved in the hybridization. Therefore this is outer orbital complex. So into these sp3 vacant hybrid orbitals, the fluoride, that is the ligand here, it will donate a pair of electrons and form a coordinate covalent bond. This with this geometry, this is hybridization. This is the geometry, octahedral geometry. Hybridization. Now let us summarize. Hybridization is sp3d2. Therefore, since 4d orbitals are involved in the hybridization, therefore this is outer orbital complex. If you see this, how many unpaired electrons are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Since 4 unpaired electrons are there, this is paramagnetic. Since 4 unpaired electrons are involved here in the magnetism, this is a very high spin complex, and this is a octahedral geometry. Okay, this is about this complex. Now let us see the drawbacks of valence bond theory, drawbacks or limitation of valence bond theory. So although this theory is very useful in determining the geometry and magnetic property, but every theory has its own background. Then only new theories will be developed. So like with every theory, it is also having few limitations. Let us see what are the limitations. Though it is able to explain the geometry, but it could not explain the color properties of these complexes. This theory, this is very important background here. This theory, color property is a very important phenomena for the complexes. It's almost all the complexes exhibit colors, but that is a major important aspect of this complexes that this theory could not explain. This is one drawback. And some of the complexes are showing distorted octahedral complexes also. That was observed in case of copper 2 ion. That distorted octahedral complexes, that type of geometry, this theory could not explain that also. And we have seen that in some complexes, 3D orbitals are involved, and in some complexes, 4D orbitals are involved in the hybridization. If 3D involved, they are known as inner orbital complexes. If 4B orbitals are involved, they are known as outer orbital complexes. This theory could not give a proper explanation why they are inner orbital and outer orbital. We are predicting that because of this 3D, this is inner orbital, 4D, outer orbital, but this theory could not explain it. And also with coordination number 4, this theory could not explain properly whether the structure is tetrahedral or square planar. Already I have discussed this, that even though according to this theory, even in some complexes we have already discussed, even though the hybridization should be sp3, but the experimental studies showed that this square planar geometry or vice versa. We have already discussed this with few examples. You can see my in my second video I have discussed this. Not in second video, I think no, fourth video. I think fourth video of this coordination chemistry lecture, I have discussed these examples. And also the stabilities, the most important point for the complexes, the most important aspect. It could not, this theory could not explain the stability of the complexes. Stability of the complexes. And also we have seen that it is telling by, it was also observed that in this theory, the magnetic momentum is calculated using n under root n into n plus 2 formula. That is, theoretically it has given the magnetic moment, or and theoretically depending on the unpaired electron, it has given that this theory is telling whether it is paramagnetic or diamagnetic. But there are some contradictions when we consider the experimental values. That contradictions it could not explain. So these are the few limitations, the important limitations: colored property, stability, and the most important thing here is tetrahedral and square planar complexes geometry. So these are the contradictions of valence bond theory. Okay, and to overcome this theory, the more new theories were developed, like crystal field theory, that we'll be discussing in next semester hopefully. Okay, with this we have completed valence bond theory. Okay, now let us see the isomerism of these complexes. So let us see isomerism in coordination compounds. What is isomerism? Which have the same formula but different structural arrangements are known as isomers. We all know this. We have already studied this in your 10th class and also in intermediate. Same molecular formula but different structural arrangements. What is the basic difference that is observed in these isomers? There is a physical and chemical properties. Okay. So if you see the isomerism coordination compounds, it's basically classified into two. One is structural isomerism, other is stereoisomerism. In structural isomerism, like you have studied in organic chemistry, I think you might have studied in organic chemistry different types of isomerism. Here also it is very similar, but here we are discussing in terms of coordination complexes here. Here we see in structural complexes, structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. structural isomerism, we will be discussing ionization isomerism, hydrate isomerism, linkage isomerism, coordination isomerism, coordination position isomerism. In stereoisomerism, we will be discussing geometrical isomerism and optical isomerism. Now, first let us see the structural isomerism now. Okay. First, let us see the ionization isomerism. The name itself indicates when you ionize this, the complexes which are having the same molecular formula, but upon ionization, they give different types of ions in the aqueous solution. For example, let us see here. This type of isomerism arises due to the change of groups between the coordination sphere and the ions outside it. They give different ions in solution. Therefore, the name is ionization isomerism. For example, the coordination complex formed from these two what do you call it? Molecules from these two compounds is we get when these two compounds are combined, we get two types of complexes. One is this one, red violet. Another is this is red, and this is reddish, only reddish. Okay, one is red in color, another one is red violet color. And how do you distinguish these two complexes? The molecular formula is this: number of molecules are same, stoichiometry is same. But when you dissolve this, or when you dissolve this aqueous solution of this complex in a barium chloride solution, or when not dissolved, when you add barium chloride solution to this complex, you observe that one complex is giving white precipitate and the other complex is giving cream color precipitate. White precipitate is due to the formation of barium sulfate, and cream color precipitate is due to the formation of barium chloride. Barium sulfate indicates that sulfate, it is forming a complex, it is forming compound with barium, means sulfate should be freely available. When it is freely available, only when it is outside the square bracket or outside the this complex sphere or coordination sphere. So sulfate should be outside. When we are getting barium chloride, when we will get this type of compound, only when chloride ion is freely available. So there is some mistake here. It should be barium. Okay, bromide here. So when this is possible, only bromide is freely available. When it is freely available, only when it is outside the coordination sphere. So from these two experiments, from these two reactions, we can say that in this type of complexes, since sulfate is outside, ammonia and bromide should be the ligands that are forming coordinate covalent bond with coval, and they should be inside the coordination sphere. Now, since this is barium bromide, not chloride, since barium bromide, bromide should be outside, and ammonia and sulfate are the ligand, they should be inside the coordination sphere. So upon ionization, since they are giving different ions, this is known as ionization isomerism. Let us see another isomerism, that is hydrate isomerism. The name itself indicates there is a difference in the number of, or difference in the arrangement of water molecules. Hydrate means water. This type of isomerism is similar to ionization isomerism, which arises by the exchange of coordinated group by water of hydration. See here, the two examples are given here. One hydrate molecule is linked to, it is acting as a ligand here, forming a coordinate covalent bond with the central metal atom cobalt, but another is outside the sphere here. See here, H2O. This type of isomerism is known as hydrate isomerism. Now let us see another isomerism, that is linkage isomerism. Some ligands may contain two atoms which can donate an electron pair for bonding to central metal ion, like amphidentate ligand. We have already discussed this about amphidentate ligands. The amphidentate ligands is the molecular formula is same. For example, nitro and nitrite 2. NO2. The molecular formula is same, NO2 and ONO. But the donor atom with which the central metal atom is forming a coordinate covalent bond, that will be varying. Depending on that, so that will be varying. Okay. For example, in NO2 minus, the N atom or O atom can donate their electron pairs. If N is donating, that is a nitro. If O is donating, that is nitrito. So this type of ligands are known as amphidentate ligands, and these amphidentate ligands will show linkage isomerism because they can bind to the central metal atom with two different donor atoms. And few more examples also we have, like cyanide and isocyanate. In cyanide, the molecular formula is same, CnNnC, but the linkage is different. Here carbon is linked through central metal atom, but here in case of isocyanate, nitrogen is linked. Similarly, thiocyanate and isothiocyanate. In thiocyanate, sulfur is the donor atom that is linked to the central metal atom, whereas in isothiocyanate, nitrogen is a donor atom that is donating a pair of electron to the metal. Here only there is a difference in the linkage of donor atoms here. Therefore, this type of isomerism is known as linkage isomerism. Example is shown here. See here, I have already told you the nitro group. When there is a difference in the donor atom, and if the molecular formula is the of the ligand is same, such type of ligands are known as linkage isomerism. Here it is nitrito, here it is nitro. There is a difference in the linkage of donor atom here. Is oxygen is linked to central metal atom, means oxygen is donating low electron pair to central metal atom, whereas here in this case nitrogen is donating a pair of electron to the central metal atom and forming a coordinate covalent bond. Okay. And the next isomerism is coordination isomerism, or it is also known as coordination ligand isomerism. Here in most of the cases, the name itself explains the isomerism. You can predict from the name itself. When the compound consists of both cationic and anionic complexes, the interchange of ligands between anion and cation gives rise to these isomers. If you see the example, you can understand. See here, cation and anion are both the complexes. Okay. Let us see one example. See here. Here this is cation. This is a complex. And platinum tetrachloride, tetrachloroplatinum. This is also a complex. This is cation. This is anion. Both are complexes. Here also this is cation. This is anion. So both when both cation and anion or both are complexes, we can see this type of isomerism, that is coordination isomerism. You can see here there is in this ammonia are the ligands here, with central metal atom copper. Here chloride are the ligands with central metal atom platinum. Here if you see this complex, the ligands are exchanged between the central metal atoms. Here chloride are linked to copper here, whereas ammonia are linked to platinum here. So such type of complexes where cation and anion both are complexes, we can see this type of isomerism. And another type is coordination position isomerism. This is mostly seen in the bridge complexes, or we can also see in polynuclear complexes. Let us take one example of bridge complexes to discuss this example. Here also it is the interchange of ligands between the metal nuclei. Okay, if you see this here, here one cobalt is linked with only ammonia molecules, whereas another cobalt is linked to ammonia and chloride. If you see this one, see the number of molecules and the same molecules are same, but the arrangement of these ligands is different here. Here now each cobalt is linked to chloride 1 here. So this type of isomerism arises, we can see only in the bridge complexes. Here 4 ammonia, here 2 ammonia and 2 chloro. Here see here 3 ammonia, 3 ammonia, and 1 chloro, 1 chloro. Total how many ammonia molecules are there? 3 plus 3, 6. Chloro 2, 1 plus 1, 6. Here also 4 ammonia, 2 ammonia, 6. Chlorines 2. So number of molecules are same, but there is a difference in the position with which they are coordinating with the central metal atom. Therefore, this type of isomerism is known as coordination isomerism. So with this we will stop here. In the next class we will see stereoisomerism. In this class we have discussed we have discussed the octahedral geometry of various complexes using valence bond theory, and then we have seen the structural isomerism in coordination complexes. Okay, we will stop here. In the next class we will discuss the stereoisomerism in these complexes. Thank you, one and all.